As we know, guys, the Portland Trailblazers, they're in a very tough situation right now. With Damian Lillard and having the third overall pick in this year's draft coming up, they're in a tough situation to decide what they want to do. And they need to decide whether they're going to evidently get rid of Damian Lillard or use that third pick to try to bring someone into their team. Except, there isn't that many options for them to bring onto this team necessarily. Now, we bring this up because Damian Lillard probably just had one of the best seasons of his career before he was shut down in the later parts of this season. He's coming off averaging 32 points a game and 7 assists for the season. One of the best seasons of Damian Lillard's career by far. He had a 71-point game this season. He was absolutely ridiculous. Except the Portland Trailblazers, they just weren't winning at all. They ended the season 33-49. Didn't really have the winning season that they hoped for. The Trailblazers are kind of fumbling. They're rumbling. They're running with a bunch of young guys. You have Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe, who are really, really good players, but they aren't really winning caliber players at this moment in time. They're not going to get Damian Lillard to where he wants to be, and that's really winning a championship. We've heard it from Dame all the time. He wants to win. He's a winner. That's really what he wants to do, and he's just not really winning so far this season. I mean, so far in his career history, honestly, he's made it to a Western Conference Finals where he's got bounced in 4 games by the Golden State Warriors. He hasn't really made it out of the West because of the dominance of the Golden State Warriors. He hasn't really made a deep run. He struggled, has lost some first-round series. It's hard for the Portland Trailblazers. They haven't built a team around Damian Lillard like the Warriors have done around Steph Curry that has been able to win a championship. And Damian Lillard is that kind of guy who is able to take a team to the championship with the right pieces around him. But players like Shaedon Sharpe and Anthony Simons and a hurt Jusuf Nurkic and players like that aren't necessarily going to get them there. So they ended the season tanking. They ended up 33-49, like I said. And landed the third overall pick. They weren't projected to get that third overall pick, but made it into the top 3 and got that third pick. Now that third pick is projected to be Scoot Henderson out of the G League or Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller was the first option for the third pick, who was predicted to be that pick. Small forward out of Alabama, I believe. 6'8", 200 pounds, but they're seeming like he's going to be more of a fit for Charlotte, who got the second overall pick, and they might take him. If I was the Portland Trailblazers, I wouldn't even worry about who you're getting. Hopefully you are getting Scoot Henderson, who I do think is the better player out of him and Brandon Miller. He's obviously not Victor Wembanyama, but Scoot Henderson is very, very good. I think he can be a win-now player. Someone like Ja Morant, when he first came in for the Memphis Grizzlies, put in a good situation around a lot of guys. You have Jusuf Nurkic as a vet. You have some young guys around him. I think he could have a Ja Morant type of impact in his first season, where they have a really, really good season under Scoot Henderson if they're able to draft him. And that's the direction I think the Portland Trailblazers should go in. They should try to find a trade for Dame. As much as Damian Lillard says he doesn't want to be traded, or, he wants to stay in Portland, he wants to win in Portland, it's really not going to happen. And this is really the best option for the Portland Trailblazers and the best opportunity for them to finally start a rebuild around Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard, he's been there since 2012, won Rookie of the Year, has taken you to a bunch of playoff series, is probably your best player in franchise history, but it's time to let him go. I think this is the time more than ever that you need to let Damian Lillard off this team, find a trade partner for him. You know how much you could get for Damian Lillard? You could get so much for him. We see what Rudy Gobert got. We see what, Donovan Mitchell got from Cleveland for Utah. What would you get for Damian Lillard? It'd be a haul. He is, a little bit older. He's in his 30s, teams might be a little bit hesitant about that, but I think Dame is still in the prime of his career. He doesn't really rely on his athleticism to score. Like I said, he had 71 points this season, was averaging 32. He'll age gracefully. We've seen Steph Curry do it. He won a championship at 34. Damian Lillard still has a lot of years in him, and I think a team would definitely pounce on the opportunity to get Damian Lillard. There's so many teams that he could possibly go to. There's so many teams that need a franchise player like that, someone to take them over the top, like the New York Knicks. The Sixers, they don't really have that many assets to get him, but I would love Damian Lillard on the Sixers. There's so many teams that he would be valuable on, and there's so many teams that would give up so much for him. The Portland Trail Blazers are in the perfect spot that they could, draft Scoot Henderson in this draft. Trade Damian Lillard, get all the pieces back for him, and start the rebuild around Scoot Henderson, and hopefully win a championship as that team. And it's good for Damian Lillard, too, because he said in interviews that he doesn't really want to wait to try to build a winning, contending team around young guys. He's not necessarily on that timeline as an older guy to wait for an Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, a potential Scoot Henderson, for them to all develop into ready players for them to play. They're also something that people haven't mentioned. If you do end up drafting Scoot, you have Anthony Simons, Damian Lillard, Scoot Henderson, and a bunch of guards on this team. You can't really win around a guard formula. All your best players are guards. You would have to go out and trade some of them at some point, but what are you really going to get for them? And the team has talked about, trying to win now by trading this third overall pick. But what are you really going to get for this third overall pick? You're not going to get a player that's really available on the market right now. There are no superstars available on the market that can really impact winning on a championship level right now. You go get someone like Jaylen Brown possibly, who falls out in this Eastern Conference Finals with the Boston Celtics, request a trade or whatever, and you trade the third overall pick for Jaylen Brown. One, that's not necessarily a good idea for the Celtics. And two, Jaylen Brown and Damian Lillard are not a championship winning team. They're just not. There's no superstars. There's no top 5, top 7-ish players available at the moment for you to trade for. It just wouldn't happen. So your best option is getting rid of Damian Lillard, in my opinion, drafting Scoot Henderson overall with the third overall pick, and rebuilding around him, Anthony Simons, and Shaedon Sharpe. And that would be your rebuild of the future. You bring in some vets, and the Portland Trail Blazers could be set up really, really nice for the future, and Damian Lillard could have his opportunity to go out and win a championship. And that's where I stand with the Portland Trail Blazers. They should absolutely, if they can, trade Damian Lillard, draft Scoot Henderson. That's the route for them. And with that, that's it for this video. You guys, the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out all the links in the description. Peace out, guys.